always says, nothing good ever happens after 9 o'clock at night. So don't be...
Wait. We're moving it up to 9?
Yeah.
I was thinking it was midnight. What's up, guys? How you doing? I'm Paul.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Caroline.
And I'm Lucy.
And this is...
The Paul and Morgan, the Paulandmorganshow!
Yeah! So, today's video, how far is too far in Christian dating? This is a topic that we know really grabs the audience. So we're gonna have some fun and give you guys wisdom that we have. I'm excited to have Lucy, Caroline, okay, hey, our two good friends on the show. I think they're gonna bring some really valuable insights.
Oh yeah.
But first, before we get into it, make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell. We make Christian videos on life, love, and dating to help you have hope
And be free.
We didn't even have to tell
we
them.
didn't even plan that.
Do it.
Morgan, get it kicked off.
Alright. How far is too far? I get this message a lot, Paul and I both do, of like, okay, well, we're kissing, okay, well, now I'm sitting on his lap, like, but we don't do anything else. Is that okay? My response normally is like, where do you think that's going to lead? Because how far is too far is not really the question even that you should be asking yourself.
Yeah.
Solid
point. Because when you start asking yourself how far is too far, it's super easy to come up with like reasons as to why sitting on their lap is okay and kissing.
Yeah.
As to why hands going here or there is okay, or well, this isn't, you know, sex, but it is like we are, you know, still just able to be physically connected, and that's really what I desire so bad, for us to connect. We're not totally crossing the boundary, so isn't it okay?
No. One thing, like my mom, Lucy and I are sisters, I don't know if that's important, but one thing my mom always told me, and I think it was just like a fear tactic more than anything else, but it was like, you can't go back physically. So like once you've like crossed a boundary, like there's no going back. And so there's kind of like this feeling of, okay, I just have to like keep going, if that makes sense.
Oh.
Okay, so you're holding hands, okay, whatever, and then you're kissing, okay, and then you're on top of each other, and then like it doesn't stop. Like even if you stop in that moment, like it doesn't stop.
It's also really hard in established relationships where boundaries have maybe gone farther than you in your heart know that they should have, to begin to connect, like again, like on a mental level instead of just like a physical one. So it's really hard to have the important conversations once things that you once would have conversated about have already kind of gone beyond.
I love what you guys are saying. So many times when we cross a line that in our hearts, like we know we shouldn't cross, but we do, we then start kind of collapsing on ourselves of like, all right, I crossed that line, I already did that, so I'm gonna go ahead and cross another line. So that's why it's so important to be just very clear on what lines you're going to set and what things you're going to stay away from at the beginning. And I do want to get really practical with you guys, because our audience likes practical, everyone likes practical. Like, what do we personally, like for Jesus loving Christians, Morgan and I are obviously married, but we had to deal with this stuff in our dating. Caroline, Lucy might still be single. I'll let you guys speak on that. You guys can tell if
He's single?
they're single, okay? And we'll post their Instagrams. Maybe. Michael's single too, but hey, that's another. So I want to hear, for real, like what are your all's thoughts on, like, is a kiss okay? Is a peck on the lips, a peck on the cheek, hand holding?
I'm going to cut you off right there. Where this begins, I don't know if it's the same for men, but for a lot of women, it starts in the mind. Our imaginations are so powerful. And so like, yes, obviously we will go into the topic of like physical boundaries when you enter that relationship, but just be sure like that your mind and your heart and like the meditations that come from them are from a pure place, and that you're really taking time to foster just your relationship with the Lord, so that you can be able to flee from those thoughts when they occur.
Let me just tell you, people, it is a slippery slope. I dated in high school, and you don't, as a Christian, like you don't go into a dating relationship thinking that you're gonna like allow all these things to slide. But then when you're in the moment, it becomes a lot more difficult to like recognize, I guess, the importance of your faith, you've got to be careful, guys. And that's, coming from someone who's like made the mistakes and like knows it's not worth it.
If you start going too far too soon and crossing these physical boundaries before you even really know the person on like a deeper like spiritual or just mental level, like you are then bound to that person physically, and so it's a lot harder to get out of that relationship when you're like, okay, this guy and I, we don't actually agree on like half of the stuff, but we're physically involved, and I feel like I'm stuck with him now, and so I'm gonna be with him for maybe even years until you can finally like work up the courage to get out of it. As soon as, and I mean literally as soon as you cross one line, it could literally be you holding hands and you feel uncomfortable with it in your spirit. I don't feel right about this. Then it's not honoring to the Lord, and you stop doing that. Like, I'm using hand holding, like that could be an exaggeration. Like, you might feel totally fine about holding hands with guys and girls, like before you're married, whatever. But like,
it's powerful, it's physical touch. It gets your heart pumping.
And Paul has mentioned this before, thinking about like going into a relationship and thinking, I don't know for sure if this person is my wife. I don't know for sure if this person is going to be my husband. So I'm going to honor their possible wife one day. I'm going to honor their possible husband one day, because it might not be me.
How cool. This is just me, because I don't think I'm over romanticizing things at all, but like to be able to like tell your husband, you're the first man I ever kissed. I think that's super cool, and I think that's, I don't know, it just takes that relationship and kind of makes it that much more personal.
And we're not saying to the people who have kissed before, to the people who have even like fully crossed all the boundaries and bonded yourself intimately with the person, that like, oh, now you can't go back. Again, like Paul said earlier, you can make a mistake and you can turn from it and like move forward. I could have lived in my mistakes, in the things, in my mess ups for the rest of my life. I could have, and I could have allowed my mistakes to direct my path for the rest of my life, but I didn't. Like, I decided, no, I'm done living in my mistakes, and I'm gonna repent, and I'm gonna turn from them, and I'm gonna move forward.
Praise God.
It is so easy to justify the things that we're doing, but this isn't like, God doesn't necessarily talk about this, but like, the Bible talks over and over about sexual immorality, like, a lot. Lust and just like giving into your fleshly desires before the time is right, like giving into this love, this beautiful thing, but too soon. Like, we give into it too soon, and we justify it, and we say it's okay because I'm happy, and doesn't God want me to be happy? He loves me. He wants me to be happy. Like, yeah, absolutely. That's why he's telling you, wait, because he knows. He's the creator.
sexting is not okay. Just so we're aware.
Even when no images are included.
So just be careful and like understand that how far is too far applies to your texting, applies to your Snapchatting, your Instagramming, all that.
Lucy, you mentioned earlier off camera that your thoughts on what is physically acceptable in a relationship has maybe shifted from what it used to be a few years ago. Right now, where you're at, when you're in a relationship, when you are in a serious dating relationship, how long do you want to wait on kissing?
I see the benefit of waiting until engagement, or just before, when you know that this is the person that you're going to be with. Yeah.
Caroline.
Oh my. What?
How long before the kissing starts? I'm genuinely curious, because this is good, real conversation. Like, how long do you think you're gonna wait?
Oh, well, if it's serious, so whether that's like engagement or maybe not engagement yet, but it's kind of heading in that direction, I think it's okay. I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, but you also have to consider how long your season of engagement is going to be, because a year leaves a lot of room for that knowingness and that anticipation and that just heightened.
That's a great point. Super good point, because think about, you decide, okay, we just got engaged, and for the record, Morgan and I waited to kiss Morgan until I asked her dad if I could marry her, then
And that's just romantic.
that is
like,
pretty romantic.
That's just, I don't know, that's
Guys?
hot. I don't know.
No, it is. It's cute.
And then our first kiss was later that day. It was before we got
And
engaged.
magical, I'm sure. Or
It
maybe it was
was
filled with mishaps.
Pretty
I don't
good.
know.
It was pretty good. It was great. I take that back. It was wonderful. Okay, well, it was okay. There was
Good
more,
girls
there was
never
more,
kiss and
there was more to it.
It was good. It was
There was more to
really
it, but going back to what you guys were saying, the long engagements and so forth,
Yeah.
and we definitely encourage short engagements. Say you wait to kiss till shortly before engagement or till you're engaged, and then your engagement lasts however long, a year. Do you not think that kiss a month from now is going to be a little bit more of a passionate kiss? And then 6 months from now, like, that's just the natural progression. So if you're waiting,
It goes from a peck to a little
and
bit
it just
more.
does, guys. Like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe you're an extremely rare exception where it doesn't, but ours did.
Yeah.
Like, our kissing got more passionate. So, personally, and Morgan, what do you think? I personally, and I've said it before, would have liked to wait even longer, even honestly, to the wedding day. What do
I
you think?
definitely get why you would want that or desire that if we had to redo it again. I think that I would either just like want to set up just stricter boundaries where we could kiss, but like we have super strict boundaries because like there were times when Paul and I like were able to kiss passionately where like if we had set up a boundary of like, and we're not gonna sit in the car alone together like for this amount of time. Like when we're in the car, we're in it to drive somewhere and then we get out and leave. Like I don't know, just setting up
Yeah.
maybe some more extra boundaries, even though we did have pretty strict boundaries for sure. Just even stricter. But I don't like look back at our engagement and like regret anything that we did. Like I don't think personally that we crossed boundaries or went too far to where I was like, oh.
So it might sound weird, like setting super specific boundaries, but honestly, like what Morgan's saying, the more specific you can make them, like write them out, make sure you're talking about them on the same page with your partner, it's going to go a long way. That's going to be really helpful.
Guys, comment below and let us know if you enjoyed our guest on today's episode and what did you think about our thoughts on how far is too far. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you do things differently in your dating relationships? Let us know.
Yeah, this topic in particular is great for carrying on the discussion. So we want to hear your personal stories and where you're at with it. Give this video a thumbs up for our awesome guests and friends, Caroline and Lucy. And Caroline actually has a YouTube channel. You should go. Oh.
What's your name? What's
Caroline
your,
Claire.
her YouTube, we'll pop it up on the screen right here. Caroline
Hit the
Claire. Go check it. Go subscribe.
All right, guys, that's it from us. We love you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll catch you again very soon. Have hope.
And be free!
It is true. You can go too far over a text message. Oh.
Squishy!